Oh, there we go. And we're live. How's it going, everybody? Whoever is already tuning in, you guys are crazy. Thank you for tuning in to the Martian Report. We're doing some TA right now. Oops, need to fix my screen real quick here. There we go. Actually, drag that over there real quick. Alright. There we go. So, how's it going, everybody? How you doing tonight? Thank you for tuning in. It's looking like XRP is forming a rather standard cup and handle formation here, right? We have sort of almost a triple formation going on here. This larger cup into this handle, which is acting like a cup in turn to this smaller handle, right? Pretty cool stuff going on right now. Let's see what it does. It's my expectation is we're either going to pump here in the next hour or so, or we're gonna see a rather nasty tumble, maybe down. Let's try and get some ranges here. Let's see what could possibly be going on, right? How's it going, Denyor? How you doing, dude? Check BAT USD, please. What do you think? Let me get some ranges set up here real quick for XRP, since that's primary focus of my channel. But we'll go check out BAT here in a bit because I do like BAT. So bring these guys up to the forefront here. It's interesting. We're still testing the same range that I said earlier today. Actually, I think it was actually right about here. I said that's when we actually put this down based upon this previous high here. I was like, you know, we'll probably want to break either here, like this, breaking the 43.3 on a Bitstamp would be fantastic, but 42.5 is basically our resistance right now, and it's acting like it pretty solid ever since. So we still want to see the price spike up to 43. If we get that spike to 43, it could be pretty nice. You know, we could go from 43 potentially all the way back to 46. There's a potential for resistance at 44 or 45, 44.5 cents basically, because it has been a relatively strong resistance point in the past. Anytime we've gotten to it, we've gotten strong rejection off, and whenever we've passed it, though, we do get that exponential run up, and that again should take us up to just above 46 cents on Bitfinex. What's up, 11R? How's it going? Or Bitstamp, sorry. Tom B, the crypto hawk has been shilling BAT hard last week or so. I mean, there's a lot of tokens that are doing really good in the space right now, but that should be expected. We're going into a new bull run, right? Brand new bull market. There's going to be some big winners, some big losers. Not really. The losers already came in. You know, the bear market's dead. If it's dead, then it's not going to die. It's already dead, right? Thus, what's dead can never die. I think that's how it's supposed to work. I don't know. They killed what's dead, so I don't even understand what the purpose of the show was anymore. Really, we're not going to get on that. This is a happy place for XRP to go to the moon, because it's going to, right? Sorry, Kung Fu. I definitely stole your moon, but it's an addictive phrase. I love Kung Fu Nerd's moon keybind that he created. It's so funny. I think 40 cents was the bottom. Stephen B, I very much agree, right? Like this looks like a bottom to me, just the way that it's playing out. And 38.9, like I had said that we should go to 39 cents, not just because of this range, that it would have been like the break of the range, but like just on a technical level, the 39 was like our bottom that we wanted to see us lock in. And the fact that we're getting a nice strong recovery off of it, we're seeing good volume too, right? Like, let's get that out the way here. I need to just move this to a different window here. I don't know why I keep bringing it out. New pane below. There we go. All right, so if we look at our volume, this red here, this is like that big sell-off that we just went through. But if you look at our volume now, the volume afterwards, it's not only higher, all the buy volume, actually, like on average, there's more buy volume if you look, right? Because back before this sell-off, our average buy was down here, right? We had a few green wicks that are really high up here, but now if you look after, you're seeing all this green buying volume that's way above that, right? Like the new average is basically where the random was back here, right? And now we're seeing more green wicks that are going above that average even, right? Like we have 1, 2 in this whole range here before this. So we're seeing our volume grow substantially, and we're keeping more volume. Every time we have a sell-off, it's all right because we're seeing more volume, more buy volume come into each cycle. And so that's how we can be relatively confident, at least, that when this formation breaks, it's going to break bullish like it has every time prior that we've seen the volume come up, consolidate, and we see the volume start to increase again, right? When you see increased volume, that means increased price. It's the greatest indicator of which direction the price is going is how is your volume playing out on the medium to short term, right? Majority that is buying XRP is USDT. So it's people from the crypto ecosystem jumping into the XRP ship. I mean, that makes sense because most people would probably be coming from Bitcoin because that's what most people are going to learn about first, right? You're going to learn about Bitcoin predominantly. You're going to learn about Bitcoin before you ever even know what XRP is because you're most likely going to be familiarized with Bitcoin before you even know what a blockchain is. Because they're going to be like, you've heard of Bitcoin, right? Yeah. Well, Bitcoin runs on this thing called a blockchain. Oh, what's that? Well, it's this computer program thing that makes sure that you can't perform the same transaction twice. You know, it's called a double spend problem. It's preventing us from being able to make a sound digital currency. Oh, so that solves that problem? Yeah, exactly, right? So, but until you actually understand the basics of these systems, then it's unlikely you're going to actually find out about XRP before you've been introduced to blockchain, at least. And Bitcoin seems to come before that because that's what sparks people's curiosity normally. I mean, I don't know. I've seen some people in the XRP community that have said that they just like straight up found XRP through some mainstream article or something like Bloomberg or whatever, but I feel like that's a very small minority of people that are currently in, at least. Maybe in the next, maybe that's going to be the big defining wave change between this wave cycle and last, is that most people who found XRP in the 2017 cycle found it because of Bitcoin. Maybe most people in the 2019 cycle are going to find it because of, Santander or the Federal Reserve or, the European central banks talking about Ripple, right? I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how the dynamics play out, the social dynamics play out, and what kind of draws people into the space. I've been paying attention to my video analytics just to see what actually is catching people's interest more than anything, like as far as the news is going on. And a lot of people are really interested in the central banks, which makes sense, Yeah. Ooh, what's that smell? Money? That smelly smell. It smells smelly. Dollar bills. Hell yeah, 11. How's it going, midway? Or middle way, rather? XRP up 1.3%. Any news? So we do actually have a little bit of news since you asked, Human Tripod. So this article is a little bit old, actually. It came out on the 21st. But it's written up by Ryan Zagone, and it's titled The Federal Reserve Task Force Ripple Improves Speed and Transparency of Global Payment System. So I'm going to go over this article in its own standalone video. But basically, I went over the Faster Payments Task Force. And when you come over here, you can come on to their effectiveness criteria and solutions proposals. And then when you come down here, you'll see one of their proposals right here, obviously, is Ripple, which leverages distributed financial technologies to enable real-time cross-border payments for financial institutions that join their network. Fantastic, right? Money, 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 money. So then when you come down here, you can download the Faster Payment Task Force reports, part 1 and 2. When I open them up, cool little sections here, right? But so they mentioned Ripple is mentioned 3 times, I think, really in 2 different sections where it like shows that Ryan Zagone is a part of the Faster Payments Task Force, along with many other individuals from the financial industries. We also have like Kathy Hanna from Kroger. It's interesting. It's a grocery store in the United States for those who are not familiar. We have John Drechny from Walmart. That's another interesting individual to be taking part in these discussions, right? What else do we have here? Wells Fargo's on here. That's always nice to see a friendly face. American Express, you know, another friendly face. Is there anybody else on here that we know to be associated? I'm not seeing anybody else up here right now, but yeah, I'm doing pretty well middle way. Thank you for asking, dude. Oh, come on. I was quoting Leonard Skinner's song. Oh, my bad, dude. Wait. Which Lawrence? I'm not sure which song that is. It's not. I'm not. I went to. Ooh, what you say? Oh, that you only meant well. Oh, of course you did. Yeah. Extremely rollable paper. Scriptin 42. I'm gonna say I think that's why we're going towards XRP, right? Because away from that worthless fiat paper bill that you can just grow in your backyard, we're going to that premium good. So we also get Ripple mentioned here a little bit more in the appendices, discussing a little bit more in depth, obviously, about the fact that, you know, it's far more efficient and cheaper, and its fees are certain versus the uncertain charges that somebody's going to face whenever they perform transactions through the traditional means, aka Swift, right? So, cool little shout out there in this breakdown, and I believe that was it. Yeah, that was it for this article. And then this one, I believe we also, so this one was nice, cool, was pretty cool actually, because this part of the PDF shows the rate of approval of each of the projects being proposed, right? So we see Ripple here as far as like, so the dark blue line, that is the amount of strong agreement people have with the proposal they put forward, right? So we see that Ripple's strong approval is tied with North American Banking, Shazam, and basically even with Intercomputer. And then this other one, TCH, is like way up there. And now the thing is that many of these, it's not just now, you know, you don't need to worry basically that because one of these is more well received than Ripple, because, you know, there's a few at least in total, even when you get down to like the actual agreement versus disagreement, like differentiation. The idea is that many of these will be able to be implemented side by side and are going to augment each other. So it's not like, you know, just one and done kind of solution. They're probably most of these are going to be implemented to some degree or another over certain regions which they are more effective at addressing, right? If I think that's about as simply as I can put that. But yeah, so what is nice though is to know that Ripple is among the top rated in this review versus the lower rated, right? And what's also interesting, actually, when I was reading through this, is that, where is it at up here? So originally there were 25 proposals, but, you know, by the April 30th deadline, several had dropped out or not completed or presenting complete proposals, and so that 25 was reduced down to the 16 that were now being included in this final report. So, you know, almost half of all the proposals just got whacked before this was even solidified. So we can also be pretty confident that, you know, those who are on this list have a pretty good shot of being utilized to some degree, whatever those solutions being proposed by those individuals are, right? Now, I don't see, I don't have any access through these that I've found yet. I'm going to keep looking, and I'm going to do a separate video for this information specifically, since, you know, a lot of people don't like having to shift through hours of live stream or whatever. So I'll do standalones for this for everybody out there. But let's go over and check what's going on right now, see if it's still flat for, yeah. Much appreciated, Mike Hunt. I hope SBI launches in July. Me too, Jason, because I was convinced that we were going to get an announcement, or that we were supposed to go live in June with SBI. I don't know how I got June and not July, because like before June even came about, like the June 10th date that I was under the impression that SBI virtual currency was supposed to launch, it didn't, and I was hearing from other people that's like, no, it's July, and I was like, really? So I don't know what was going on with my mind there, but yeah, I'm hoping that the July date actually comes to fruition. And it seems like there's a lot that's going live in July, not just in Japan, but, you know, in the US as well. So it seems like a make or break moment. And big shout out, by the way, to the 74 people tuned in right now. Thank you so much for tuning in. Everybody, if you could do me a favor and hit that like so that we can pump this up in the algos, get everybody in here talking about what's going on with the Faster Payments Task Force, right? And the fact that they're obviously over here praising the standard XRP, right? Stands for extremely rich people, extremely rich perspectives, maybe, right? I am not a financial advisor. We're just having fun here, just so everybody does know. Don't take anything that I'm saying as gospel. I'm just some random weirdo that is obsessed with XRP, right? I get called a conspiracy theorist a lot, so you should know that I'm probably just like, you know, drinking my own Kool-Aid, right? It's a very, very highly probable thing. You should not trust the things that come out of my mouth. You should do your own research. Partial lunar eclipse on July 16th to 17th, 2019. I mean, don't we get partial lunar eclipses every month? Just saying, middle way. Lunar eclipses aren't really special. They happen all over the world every isn't it every month? Because its lunar cycle is every 30 days, I believe. You got it, I just hit that like button. Much appreciated, Lord Money Senpai. Yeah, I know that like sometimes like I forget, honestly, unless somebody reminds me. Like I'll be like, oh yeah, I did forget to hit that like, just because you don't think about it sometimes. But legitimately, like it pumps the algorithms, and that's the one reason I ask for likes. You know, I'm not actually out here trying to get like emotional, like, oh, the likes make me feel like a human. They make me feel loved. No, they don't. I just know that they feed the algorithms. So I'm just asking people that enjoy my content to help me out, right? Conspiracy theory equals critical thinking. As long as you acknowledge that you're probably blowing smoke up your own butt, you know, that's when it's critical thinking. But when you believe the conspiracy, you know, that's when it becomes a problem, right? That's why, like, I try to maintain, like, realism whenever there is something conspiratorial, right? But at the same time, I also get called a conspiracy theorist because I put a lot of like attention towards detail coming from these different people. So like I'm kind of hip to their lingo, and I'm really like sharp on how they use language and say things without saying things. And it's a very real thing. You know, a lot of people don't want to acknowledge that, but it's a very real thing in how powerful people communicate through, you know, video means, through means that are broadcasted. Moon pies, yes. When is Jade gonna release Mars pies? Nah, dude, it's Mars bars. It's Mars bars. Isn't that? I think that's still a thing, but maybe I'll buy out Mars bars when we all become the New World Order. Dibs on Mars bars. All right, guys. I'm gonna feed the world Mars bars. I'm gonna establish a food monopoly. The world will have to survive on Mars bars. That's my dystopian future. Feed everybody candy till they die. I feel like that'd be the worst. Honestly, I wouldn't even do that because, like, just thinking about it, I have a sweet teeth, you know, a cavity or two. I still need to go get filled or dug out. Yeah. It's not bad yet. It's not, isn't that why it always gets bad? Because people are like, oh, it's not bad yet. I always like your videos. Thank you so much, Mike Hunt. I love how many people actually enjoy my content. Like, it really boggles my mind how many of you out there are like, yo, this guy's actually saying something real and actually appreciate it. Like, I'm not used to that. I'm used to people being like, no, you're an idiot. Stop saying this optimistic crap. Sorry, I like to be optimistic about the future, right? But that's, I think, what got most of us here. You have to have some degree of hope for the future to invest in your own future, right? I think if it's like to love others, you have to love yourself first. Well, it's the same thing when it comes to money. You know, if you're gonna help others financially, well, you better figure out how to help yourself financially first. So. My company got bought out by the Mars Corp. No joke, look them up. Largest privately held company, I believe. Not just candy in their portfolio. Really? That's interesting, Bubba Shipes. I wonder if it's because we're all Martians. As long as you can make them organic and extremely nutritional, I'm down to eat it. Oh, dude, haven't you heard? I'm gonna make a cologne brand for the XRP community, and it's gonna be called Hopium, and it's gonna be great because, you know, it's just gonna be the smell of power. You have good info, which has an interesting twist to it. Yeah, I get that a lot, middle way. It's interesting that it kind of makes sense, I guess, because like, part of the reason I made my channel is because I kept finding myself at odds with what other YouTubers were in the space were saying. So I was like, well, I have a unique view. It's not being received well via Twitter, so I'll take to YouTube. And I'm so shook that I'm being received so well, because I was on the XRP Twitter space for like almost a year before I made the channel, you know. So, and I had less than 100 followers. So to get 3,000 some subscribers on YouTube in a month after nearly a year on Twitter not getting 100 people, it's kind of crazy. Boggles the mind. Ripple is snuggled up to the powers that be. Absolutely. And I think that's why the majority of us are here, is because we see the writing on the wall, right? We see, because it's like, I guess that it takes a special mind to be able to be revolutionary enough to realize that the world is going to change towards this new system, this blockchain system, but conservative enough to realize that it's not going to just go like 100% anarchist, right? That it's going to be, if anything, a slow progression towards that type of system maybe, but that the powers that be are going to maintain power and they're going to cling to it all the way, kicking and screaming to the end. And that is going to be symbolized through a transition between different degrees of decentralized networks. They're going to start out pretty centralized, you know, like LibraCoin and XRP, and JPM coin is apparently starting to get a few people joining it, right? I'll buy you 20 Mars bars once we moon. Oh man, I'm not gonna lie, I won't. You can keep the Mars bars, buddy. I just find the name funny just because I'm huge on MySpace, right? Yeah, I was bigger on MySpace than I was on Facebook, you know. But that's actually because, like, I tried to build a social profile on MySpace, because there's like the degree of like, that's actually how you learned HTML, was MySpace. So like I really like MySpace in that regard because it offered me a valuable tool, that being the ability to, you know, break down HTML and actually make changes in it. But other than, you know, that just made it like fun for me, I guess. I don't know, because it felt like I was learning something through MySpace that way. And that's why I hated Facebook when I got onto it, because there wasn't that degree of customization. So, but yeah, totally off topic there. Yo, what's up, Aiden? Thanks for the $2, bro. You said streaming at 7:30 PST. Have a good one. Much appreciated, dude. I'll be sure to point everybody your way once we wrap it up. I probably won't be on too late today, but appreciate the 2 bones. I'll see if I can't tune over, because that'd be like 9:30 my time, so an hour and a half from now. Sounds good, dude. Can't wait to see what you got for us. It's all good, dude. I love Aiden's stuff. That's why I promote him out all the time too. He's awesome. We got tons of brilliant people in our community. Like, there's tons of people that deserve like all of our viewership and attention, because they have awesome, like, they have unique perspectives that are actually valuable to hear out. That's how we grow as individuals, is by hearing each other out, right? It's the only way we can grow. That's why, like, I always try and encourage at least a few other people in each of my stream if I can. You know, that's why I shout out Brad Kimes as often as I can. I shout out Alex Cobb as often as I can. Digital asset investor, obviously, right? But like, I think most everybody knows about them at this point, just because of how many subscribers they have versus like me. But like, you know, anybody that's like, you know, starting to lag behind me in subscribers as this bull run's starting and new people are coming in, you know, like Aiden, he's fantastic. You gotta check him out. Moon Lambo is pretty funny. Like, I enjoy him. He's a little he's a lot more comical than me. I'm just jealous of his sarcasm. But yeah, there's tons of great people in the space to check out. Who is somebody else? World of Crypto creates good content too. Rebel, who got stuff locked in BitTrue? Not I, thankfully. Bubba Shipes did, but they got it all back incorrect. Oh, that's awesome. So they recovered everything, Bubba. That's really freaking cool, actually. Hell yeah, dude. No, like whenever I do live streams, of course I'm gonna like try and engage and like actually shout out the people that I'm talking to in the community. You know, like I think that's kind of important, especially, you know, if I'm seeing people that pop up like a lot there in a lot of my videos, and like, especially if somebody's like adding me, then I'm gonna definitely be like, oh, what's going on here? Make sure I'm not like ignoring anybody, because it does get crazy with chat sometimes, but it's pretty good tonight. Pretty decent flow. Deposit has sent it down. They got it back for me. Yeah, there's some great exchanges out there. Bearable Bull is hilarious. I love Bearable Bull. We're all a little bit off. You know, I think that's part of what makes some of us entertaining, is that, you know, like, I'm definitely not all together. You know, I try to be. I do my best to stay as together as possible, but at the same time I like to be a little bit out there, because I feel like that's how you grow. You have to be open to ideas, even if they sound a little bit screwball, so that you can see if there's any truth in the narrative. Because if you just like outright like, oh, bullcrap, then you're gonna miss a lot of stuff. You're gonna miss a lot of like intricate details that can help you like piece together things and look like a prophet, when really you're just like putting the puzzle together and be like, no, but like really it's right there. You know, sure, they're not saying it outright, but it's right there. You know, look, I put it together in a nice little, you know, mosaic for you. Do you like it? You know. I thought I had great patience till I got in. Ben Howard, you know what's funny is I really thought the same thing. But what's crazy is that we're both still here, so we do have real patience, because a lot of people just get in, get burned because they think they were going to get rich quick, and then get out, and they don't come back. A lot of them, and they get lost. I was Simon Lum before I changed my name. Just like hearing people swear on... Simon Loom? Oh, I get it. Mike Hunt. Ah ha ha. Ah ha ha. It works. That works good for an Aussie accent, right? Mike Hunt. Is that you, Mike Hunt? Fucking hell. Cheers. How's it going, Justin Vargs? I'm way off myself. Put me on the 10,000 train. Yeah, you know, I mean, some of us out here maybe have put ourselves on the line for what we got in this space. So it's really hard to say whether or not, you know, I'm biased or whether or not, you know, I see the light. You know, who knows? Who knows? I'm glad you enjoyed that, buddy. But yeah, so let's get back over to the price over here, though, because looking at this... oh, actually, I do want to point this out. This is... I'm sitting here looking at this, and I'm like, why do I have this page open? Oh, yeah. NanoPay. NanoPay is another one of these faster payment protocols. And this is an example of what I mean, how... I was saying earlier, you know, even though some of these systems like NanoPay, for example... And this is actually why I looked it up. I was like, okay, what is NanoPay? Because it's technically rated higher than Ripple here, right? So I was like, okay, let's go over to NanoPay's page, see what they are. They are the lead to world's transition to digital cash. And when you come down here and read about them down here, they're in the future, NanoPay will digitize money for central banks to offer the infrastructure to enable what's more commonly known as central bank distributed or digital currency. CBDC. Oh, how I love that acronym. Because these guys are making the coins for the RippleNet. Oh, and it's coming from it's the goal of it's coming at this with the goal of financial inclusion. NanoPay acquired Mintchip, a digital cash platform developed by the Royal Canadian Mint. Now, we already knew from last year, anybody that follows Digital Asset Investor knows from last year that Ripple has been working with the Royal Bank of Canada since at least October of 2018, maybe earlier. But I remember us getting a lot of news about that and PNC, which is, you know, American-based, North American, you know, so United States and Canada, and I don't know where else. I'm assuming just those two. But yeah, so you should make your name not good grief. But yeah, so this is actually really cool though, because this is like just to me more evidence that we have, you know, one more connection into this system showing that Ripple really is developing this system for CBDCs to plug into, right? And what we're seeing is that even, you know, from this different group, the NanoPay, is that even though they are both proposals, they're both proposals that are addressing a different issue, right? Whereas Ripple is interested in creating a cross-border liquidity solution, NanoPay is specifically interested in developing a central bank distributed or digital currency. You know, so a centralized fiat essentially for them to distribute amongst their, you know, the individuals who they reign over, you know, whatever, the people within their financial jurisdiction, right? I like Moon Lambo. He's got good points. Yeah, exactly. Like there's so many reasons to follow a lot of people in the space, because like that's why that's one of the reasons why like I feel that I have a unique perspective, because like instead of just being in my own little news bubble like a lot of people in the space, you know, not a lot, but like some of the people in the space are, I wanted to be focused on like really kind of like coming at this space with a collection of like what I've developed as an understanding based upon watching all of these different content creators in the XRP community, right? And so like I still do my best to keep tuning into each of them as often as I can, even though I can't catch everybody's live stream right now, because like creating content for everybody out there and going and watching all the content creators is like, it's impossible. I don't have enough time in a day to do it, unfortunately. But like I try to make sure I at least get a little bit of everybody's content every day, especially if somebody's talking about something that I haven't heard about, you know. And it also helps me decide like, okay, this person, you know, like DAI covered this topic. There's no reason for me to really go onto it because, you know, DAI covered it. So everybody's already seen it basically in the XRP community by and large. So I can make one little video about it, but, you know, if I can find it first, then I'll go after it. But yeah, that's the other thing too, right, Bull Run? Is that in this type of a space, you want a variety of outlooks because we're independent journalists, right? We're not that just because we're independent doesn't mean that we don't have biases because we still have our own personal biases. You know, I try to check mine as best I can, but like, you know, whenever I get excited about something because we get something like crazy good news, like that's impossible to do, right? I'm only human. I'm going to make the mistake of getting excited about something that's exciting, especially when it comes to something that's exciting about something I got a lot of money behind, right? So absolutely, I'm gonna get excited, and I'm gonna get scared whenever like something bad comes along. But I'm gonna utilize those emotions in a efficient way to go and do research and be like, okay, what's going on here, so that I'm not, you know, just letting my emotions run me blind in or out of my positions, right? You can't. That's not the way you can operate in these markets. That's why it's so necessary for everybody out there that is investing in anything, digital assets or otherwise, to think with your mind, like to invest with your head, not your heart, right? Is what I'm really trying to say. Because if you invest with your heart, then you're gonna get wrecked. Like you're just gonna get wrecked because you're gonna be so anxious when you see the price drop, because you're gonna think, oh, did some news drive this? No. 9 times out of 10, when the price drops, it's just technicals. It's just, it was running up too high for too long. You know, the price got way overbought, so it had to cool off. It's just a technical. It has to do it. You know, unless there's like a real fundamental driver for price, then it's just technical. And sometimes that happens. But like price dumps, we don't get price dumps off of bad news anymore. That stopped happening for XRP back in like, you know, July. You know, July was the last time they really got a bad sell-off from some FUD. And every time after that, like, bad news doesn't affect XRP. Good news doesn't affect XRP either, though, right? Good news affected XRP in September was the last time. And then after that, good news, no amount of good news has done anything to XRP's price. Nobody cares about good news for XRP anymore. It's weird. It's really weird. But that's because most of the crypto ecosystem, you know, by and large, has labeled XRP as a shill coin or as a banker, you know, fake coin that's going to burn everybody somehow with their fixed currency supply, you know, their fixed supply of XRP. They're going to somehow, you know, hyperinflate the supply to a point where none of us make any value. It's like, what? No, like I did a video breaking down that even if they released all their XRP they have right now over the next 3 years, even if they only captured, you know, 14% of their current partners' moved assets, you know, not of the world's global liquidity, you know, out there, like all the banks together. No, I'm talking about like just 14% of the assets available to the current partners we know about Ripple having. Right? Of them, if over half of all their XRP is put into the ecosystem, so they have like, you know, next to no XRP left for themselves, even if they did that, we'd still see prices with that 14% added on top of the market cap. We'd still see prices in the hundreds, right? Hundreds of dollars. It's just a matter of being patient and waiting for these big industry, these big name people to flip those metaphorical switches, which are them integrating payment channels. It might be slow, but you know, it's going to be one of those things that's going to compound over time, because the more channels they open, the more volume that's going to come through at once at any given day, and then therefore the more value, the more price we're going to see increase every single day until all the channels are open and the price starts to do what's called an S curve, right? We go from seeing the price gain more and more and more and more and more every day to a little, still gaining more, but just a little bit less than the previous day, right? and it's slowing down. You know, the slowing economy that everybody's talking about. They're talking about the economy doing what's called an S curve. That means that we're at the peak of this cycle, and this is the peak of the final cycle of the fiat system. That's why people have been freaking out since 2008. You know, if you go and look at any expert in the financial space, they've been freaking out since 2008 when they started doing quantitative easing, because QE leads to inflation. You know, this is why you've watched over the last decade in America, at least for Americans. This is for Americans. Most people in the rest of the world, I don't know if you're having a similar experience. But in America, you went from the early 2000s where you couldn't finish a meal if you went to a restaurant because the portion size was enormous and it was dirt cheap, right? Like $10 gets you, that's a pretty decent meal out if you're going and paying $10 back in 2000 for, you know, one meal. $20 for two people, that's a decent meal. Now, $20 for one, right? And the portions halved. You're not stuffed when you're leaving out. You're not taking a to-go box nowadays, you know. $20, oh, that's, you know, we might stop for ice cream on the way home, right? That's what inflation looks like in the real world. That's what inflation is. What people have experienced over the last, you know, 20 years of how the value of our dollar has decreased, and that decrease has caused real world difference in the buying power, right? That's why gas is so expensive now. Can someone go back to 2011 and buy me Bitcoin, right? Oh man. What's crazy is I knew, like, I kicked myself in the butt for taking so long to get in, honestly, because I knew about Bitcoin for so long before I actually bought any. And I had so many opportunities too as well. I just didn't trust it. I think the only reason I really trusted it, honestly, sadly, is because I heard the mainstream start talking about it so much, and I was like, oh, wait, why is the mainstream talking so much about this thing? And at that point, I was like, nobody's paying attention to it. And then I started realizing Max Kaiser's just talking about it nonstop. I'm like, okay, I need to start studying this thing. It just took till 2017 till I was like confident enough in it, you know, and what I had been able to learn. It took me a while. Let's talk about where XRP needs to be in order for XRP to be a global asset of the world. Let's talk. Rodney Mitchell, XRP is rising and BTC is dropping. Is that so? Let's do the XRP BTC pairing then. Check that out. I mean, it does look like XRP is bottoming out. That'd be fantastic because, you know, we are actually probably really oversold right now. But to Rodney's point here, yeah, like look at this. We're in a range where we haven't been in quite some time as far as how low XRP is compared to Bitcoin. And they're talking about Bitcoin consolidating now in the 10,000 range for a while. We'll see how realistic that is, but like this would be a great place for XRP to spring back up against Bitcoin, right? That could be awesome. But to Rodney and Mitchell's point, for what XRP's price needs to be for it to be a global asset for the world, it depends, right? First off, so like consider this. Sorry for the booming. That's me hitting my desk here, and it shakes the mic. So, yo, Tony Stark, thank you so much for the $15, dude. Cool show. It's time I'm here. Thank you so much for tuning in, dude. I love your memes on Twitter. They're so hysterical, dude. I love them. Keep them up, and keep up the great news coverage too, because I know that I've definitely covered at least one or two pieces that you've put out before I've seen it from anybody else. So love how on top of you are, dude. But yeah, Rodney, are you a bot spamming? Because I'm talking about it right now, brother. But yeah, price for XRP to be global liquidity. I think that at the lowest that XRP could be to facilitate like the global remittance market, if it took over everything, right? Like everything, then, you know, everything, it's unlikely is what I'm saying, right? This is really unlikely. Then it would go to about 10,000. That number that people have said about 10,000, that's about right. And I think that would be where XRP does what's called an S curve. And so that when it hits that 10,000, that's where it's going to go. It's kind of flatten off, right? You're going to go from seeing the ability to gain, you know, whatever percentage that is from where we are, you know, thousands of percentage, you know, 20,000% gain, basically. I think something like that. Maybe 200,000% gain. I don't know. It's something crazy like that, right? But if it ever did that, if it ever reached that peak adoption at 10,000, it would plateau, right? And the price would still be able to grow, but it wouldn't grow as quickly. It could, so say this XRP reaches global adoption by 2030, right? We're saying a decade XRP reaches complete global adoption. Everybody in the world is using it, right? That day, in a decade, XRP will be from whatever price it is now, you know, 40 some cents to $10,000, right? Well, to get the next $10,000 isn't gonna, you know, we're not gonna get to $20,000 from 10,000 by 2040. Instead, we're gonna get from 10,000 to 20,000 over the course of like the next 50 to 100 years, right? So the percentage gain becomes negligible once you get to that 10,000 range, right? And what's going to be awesome-ish, you know, for the world as a whole, is when the price reaches that 10,000 range, it's going to flatline. It's not gonna be volatile like it is now, because no one in the network is going to possess enough of the currency themselves or as a collective to really cause a dramatic shift in the price, right? And if they do exist, the way that this system works is they're ultimately going to weaken themselves out of the market. So that's why decentralized systems are so powerful. Farshad, thank you so much for the donation. I just wanted to complete that rant before I thanked you for the 5 bones, brother. Something is going on with XRP. We are all about to go much higher in the next few days. I really believe that, Farshad. I really do. I just don't want to get anybody's hopes up and say it's going to be anything more than, you know, some technical ranges, right? But I think we all have a pretty good, those of us who are paying attention to the fundamentals, we have a pretty good idea that things are not going to stay in the ranges that people are familiar with for much longer. And who knows where it goes? Who knows? One-Eyed Willie 8601, you know, that's your choice, brother. I will be holding it. I know what's coming for this system, or at least I have a very good idea of what's coming for this system. You know, I won't say I know because I don't. Nobody does. You know, we could get hit by a meteor tomorrow, and then we're all wrong, right? So, the idea is that, you know, this system is very likely the one that's going to be adopted, just by watching the way powers are playing right now. I mean, so that means that even if it takes a while for it to mature, it's going to be the one that matures to the greatest value. Now, that said, if I see XRP go to, say, like, you know, maybe it goes to $1,000 in this year, right? And then it takes a decade to go from 1,000 to 10,000, right? But we get the 1,000 just this year. In that situation, I'd probably move a good portion of my XRP and diversify it, you know, de-risk my portfolio across other promising assets, because at that point, if XRP goes from where it's at to 1,000, suddenly, you know, instead of it being able to have this 100 or 1,000 times price increase, it only goes to maybe a 10x for price increase from where it's at. And that's a lot less attractive to me as somebody that wants to be involved in these new emerging asset classes, right? So I'm probably going to de-risk whatever I get at that $1,000 across the ecosystem into these other promising projects that have a lot more than just a 10x room of growth, right? Because eventually XRP will reach maturity. And once it reaches that, there's not real gains in it anymore as somebody that's trying to make money off of these markets as they grow, right? So I'll most certainly diversify across the ecosystem as the ecosystem as a whole matures. 11R, SBI CTO said that once guys like him flip the switch, we will have a stable price much higher. And yeah, I did hear about that, 11R. And I don't know if Yoshitaka Kitao actually said that. I need to go through his feed because it was in April. So let's actually do that right now. Let's go through Yoshitaka Kitao's feed because I've got the real one followed. All right, let's see. And this was back in April. This guy tweets a lot though, so it might be a minute for my internet to load through this. But let's go through some comments while we're scrolling back here. Give it 3 years, nothing happens. I'm tapping out. Right? Hey, you know, you never know. Lifetime hold, Jason. Absolutely, brother. That's how you gotta do. I just bought some. Hell yeah, Farshad. I'm waiting for the I'm waiting for the first YouTube check to come in here, and maybe I'll have something left for myself. We'll see. But I want to at least be able to do at least a $100 giveaway for the Martian community once I get my first paycheck from YouTube, because holy hell, I did not expect to be able to do this full time this quickly. Like, this is freaking awesome. I'm so grateful to literally everybody out there that tunes in so that I can do this. Like, you guys are the fucking best. Thank you so much. I know foul language. Sorry. I think we're all grown-ups in the room, though. And the ones who aren't grown-ups, you know, you're mature enough to understand the importance of investing. So I think you're mature enough to hear a little bit of foul language. Just don't be going and telling your parents that I said it's okay to say it yourself. You know, I'm not responsible for your choices. All right. That's why I tell you, do your own research. Make your own investments. And investments in foul language at home, especially as a kid, you're probably in trouble, right? So don't do it. Just save yourself the trouble. There, is everybody, all the parents okay with the fact that I just accidentally dropped the F-bomb? It will make a new ATH this year for sure. What will? Are we talking about XRP still? I'm assuming. Yeah, I think that we will make all-time high this year. For sure, but when it ends the year, probably lower than the new ATH. I don't know. Because I think that we're going into an institutional bull run, Ocon. So I don't know. I think this might be several years in the making. I don't think, you know, Rome wasn't built in a day. This bull run's not going to play out in a day, right? Yeah, right, Ben? Hey, you never know. You never know. There are some people out there that get salty when you swear, you know? And I know that YouTube lowers my algorithms because of it. So, oh well. Maybe I can get some likes for dropping the F-bomb and people can help sort out the YouTube algorithms here. Man, Yoshitaka Kitao, this dude retweets like no other. June 23rd. Good grief. Alright, so I might, it's impossible to go to thousands if Shane Ellis theory will not kick in, because XRP don't increase gradually, and it will not increase gradually. I mean, I think you need to keep in mind, Ocon, that we as early investors that are investing before the corporations, before the real big money, before the hedge firms, before the real early adopters in the traditional adoption trend, right? We are so early, Ocon. You have no idea, brother. Like, I'm not trying to bash you. I'm not trying to attack you. But if you don't think thousands are realistic, you don't understand how early you are, right? Like, the market cap, the entire cryptocurrency market cap is less than $1 trillion. Gold. Just gold as an asset, a single asset, is worth $7 trillion. 7 times this entire ecosystem, which will, as an ecosystem, will consume the value of the entire world, right? I don't know which I can't say with absolute God certainty, you know, which of these assets are going to be the successful ones. But I will say that the successful ones will be successful in consuming the value of digitizing the value of every single thing on this planet, from the t-shirt you're wearing to the car in your driveway to the roof over your head to the laptop or phone you're listening to me on now. And you're going to be able to borrow against that and use that in whatever responsible or irresponsible way you choose to handle your financial value, right? Your personal equity. This is what we're going towards. And so XRP is going to be essentially the bottom of the pyramid, right? If all value is built on top of a pyramid, you know, and all of its value is stored in the bottom, the most stable place, that's where all the value is. XRP is that bottom, that base. And so all value that the pyramid is worth is going to be stored in that base. And so whatever XRP is worth, that's going to be a mirrored reflection of the value of the pyramid itself, right? That's how this will work out. At least that's how I see it working out, because that's how I understand currencies to derive their value, right? The value of a currency isn't based upon, you know, its value versus another currency. You know, the value of the dollar is not based upon the value of the dollar versus the euro. The value of the dollar is based upon the value of the dollar versus assets, things that you need: food, oil, gas, you know, the things that you spend money on. That's what it's used for, right? That's the value of your money. That's why I was talking about food being, the portions being shrunk down, right? Because your money is losing value. That's why your portion size for your dollar is shrinking, because you're losing value by the day, by the month. That's what inflation looks like, real world. Aaron Valetti, just enjoy the ride. Absolutely. Farshad again with the 5 bones. By end of July, XRP will hit over $10 because SBI of Japan going live. Also, few big banks. And yeah, I don't know where the tweet was, Farshad, but I have definitely heard that as a thing, like even back in April. So I definitely can't wait to see what happens when SBI goes live, right? Let's just really hope that we do get that live launch. That's ultimately what I'm worried about seeing before I get like too hyped. Holy crap, we are 1 viewer away from me hitting 100 people viewing at once. I don't know that I've had 100 people viewing me at once. There it is. Holy crap. Thank you so much to everybody that's tuning in. Seriously, this is awesome. 106 now. We're just going up. This is crazy, guys. This is awesome. So yeah, let's look back over the XRP versus the US dollar. This is promising though, to see XRP appearing to rebound against Bitcoin now after plunging. So this is a perfect time for it to break out to the positive against both the USD and Bitcoin. So let's see how it plays out. Bubba Shipes, people who guess prices have ugly toes. Just saying. Yo, Bubba Shipes, that must be why my toes are ugly, because I guess at the price so often, right? And I guess in both directions. I'm double boned, because like I'm like, oh yeah, it could go up to $1, or it could go down to 25 cents, 28 cents. You know, I don't know. Either or. Take your pick. XRP is looking steady. It's the most stable, not stable coin, right? That's why we love it, because we know that that's what the guys in power want. They want a stable, not stable coin. Hey, Martian Man, you alright, bro? Super, dude. Super, Cohen. Thank you for asking, dude. How you doing? New subscriber, Crypto Fox. Thank you for your sub, brother. And 108 people in the stream. Thank you so much to everybody tuning in out there. If you like XRP related news and you're new, be sure to hit that sub and also hit that like. I've covered in the stream earlier tonight for those that are just tuning in. We talked about the Federal Reserve Task Force, talking about Ripple improving speed and transparency for global cross-border payments. And we went over the portions of the actual document released by the FATF, or the Faster Payments Task Force, in relation to Ripple specifically, and also covered how NanoPay, a participant of the Faster Payments Task Force as well, is developing the central bank digital currencies for central banks. So pretty interesting stuff going on there. The G20, we talked about the G20 a little bit too earlier. I was so excited, Mark B. What are you talking about? We got them discussing the digital economy. I don't know why people were so obsessed with hearing thinking that they're going to hear Trump or somebody say XRP or Ripple, right? Like, no, if you think the world is that transparent about the transfer of wealth, you are sorely mistaken. You do not understand how finance and business operate. Business jargon is globally notorious as being a thing for a reason. Because business jargon allows you to say things without saying things. And that's exactly how you say things, to let people know things that the majority of people aren't supposed to know. That's how it works. Legitimately. I know I said that like really asinine and sarcastically, but sorry, that's how it works. I think a lot of people out here do know that, though. At least most people that are in the XRP camp. That's why. And so that's why, like, they mentioned the digital economy. Mark B, that's what I'm saying, buddy. You weren't listening. Go listen to my breakdown. I did 2 video series breaking it down. They use extreme jargon when talking about this because they don't want the masses to be aware. But it's okay for business-minded people to be savvy to this because, hey, they're going to make the right business choice. It would have been nice if he would have mentioned some key factors of digital currencies. Well, they mentioned level playing field. They mentioned speed, capital gains. They mentioned global what was it? It wasn't liquidity. What term did they use? Oh, data free flow trust. Data free flow with trust, right? DFFT is blockchain. That's actually what DFFT is. Like, if you're going to translate that business jargon into English, then DFFT, which both the President Abe of Japan, or Prime Minister Abe, sorry, and President Trump both said data free flow with trust. Though I think Trump didn't say trust. I think he just said data free flow. But it's Trump. He goofs up his scripts all the time. But yeah, like I think that sarcastic comment just earned you a new sub. Which one, Justin? Like, I'm sorry. Like, sometimes you just gotta like. That's one reason why I look at things sarcastically sometimes. Like, I don't mean to be like an ass to the person that is saying it whenever I do a sarcastic take on something. I do it more so to point out the absurdity involved in the notion, right? Like, because like when I go over something like that, it's typically because I've already gone through that thought process myself. And what those sarcastics are usually my thought process, and then I go and dissect it, And that's why it's like, that's why I'm like, I apologize, because I realize that how I said it is dickish, but it's the point behind it. It's the understanding of that, there's a reason why I don't ascribe to that, that notion, that narrative. Graveheart, my taxes in high interest savings account. Yo, Martian, how's it going, XRP Gandhi? I think me and you are probably about the same weight class, Gandhi. You want to wrestle? I watched this movie a while ago. It gave me the notion that I kind of want to fight Gandhi. I just want to know. I'm just kidding. Shout out to anybody that actually knows which movie I'm referencing. There better be at least a few of you out there. Farshad. Also, do investment in VeChain. Last bull run, VeChain hit 644. You can buy it under 1 cent right now. Yeah, no doubt. that's true, Shad. And VeChain is up there in terms of digital assets I do intend to put money into in the near future. I've shouted it out along with a fair few others that I won't bother going through everybody again. But yeah, there's a fair few gems hidden out there that have very promising futures. I'm just, I don't know what the top end. Hell yeah, Justin, good stuff, brother. Nothing to apologize for, just real talk. Absolutely, dude. That's well, I mean, I apologize because it's still rude to talk that way, especially when it's addressing a point made by somebody in the community, right? That's why I'm apologizing, because it is still rude. It doesn't mean that it makes them right just because I upset them, but we're all upset. Well, I get triggered all the time when somebody says something that I disagree with, but then I have to suck it up whenever I realize that I'm wrong. I'm like, okay, I was an idiot. I'm sorry. I let my ego get me. It happens to everybody though, That's why you just have to be a bigger man than your past self. That's what's important, I think, as abstract as that notion may be. I'll say I'll travel to Japan and binge on sashimi. Hell yes, Graveheart. Look up Ari. Crypto Ari is pretty good. I definitely appreciate her content. I haven't watched her in a while though. Like I said, there's so much to keep up with now. It's hard to watch everybody that I used to. She was one of them. How many people remember the first ever cell phones? It started with Ericsson and then Nokia. Then BlackBerry was the star, the ruling king, mass adoption in corporate world. Then what happened? Yep. I mean, I'm not going to lie, Oaken. That's part of why I'm really watching Ripple carefully, because I'm not sure if XRP is the MySpace or if it's the Facebook. Because Bitcoin is definitely the Friendster, right? Bitcoin is definitely the Nokia, right? Or maybe even the Ericsson. But then the question becomes, is Ethereum the BlackBerry, or is it a weird in-betweener, leaving Ripple to be the BlackBerry, and then instead of Ripple being Apple, Apple's yet to come still, right? Or, really the iPhone would be the next one in that. Or you could even say like the Android, because I think Android is actually technically more popular, more widely used than iPhones, even though iPhone is the more like illustrious brand, higher quality, whatever you want to put the label on it, right? Stay open-minded for sure. Absolutely, that's all you can do, brother. It's all you can do. We're all going to make mistakes. I openly admit that I'm probably gonna say something stupid at some point. I'm afraid of when I'm going to, because I know that there's gonna be people who freak out on me. But I just hope that people out there understand that I'm just gonna do the best I can to be as honest with everybody about whatever I'm feeling or thinking in the moment in regards to these developments, especially the new ones that come out that are like kind of big deal. Are you headed out for a shot? I'm much appreciated for you stopping by, dude. Have a great night. Thank you for tuning in. Quantum computing and 5G. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting to see what's coming out. This new Internet of Things. I don't think people understand what's really going to go on. Yeah, thanks again for stopping by for a shot. You have a good night, dude. 5G is coming, Bubba. Absolutely, dude. And it's kind of worrying because we're not paying attention to the health risks associated with distortion of our electromagnetic fields around our bodies, as sci-fi and I don't know what is that energy people chakra as alternative medicine as that sounds. You do emit electromagnetic radiation from your body. Your brain is by and large the experience of experiencing the universe is by and large the process of electromagnetic impulses, electromagnetic waves within a confined space that are manipulated into these beautiful patterns that you can visualize or witness with EM, with fMRI scans of the brain and so on and so forth. Like the beauty of consciousness is like perhaps the most fantastic thing that we will never understand, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at. Yeah, Chi Energy. How's it going, Carrie Doll? Thank you all for tuning in tonight. 115 people. This is crazy. We're staying concurrently over 100 people in the stream. Thank you all for tuning in. This is awesome. I can't believe that like we're staying over 100 people watching just talk about price action and craziness about consciousness and the wild ramblings of a madman, as I think most people would probably describe my thought processes. But I'm glad that there are people out there who can find some degree of entertainment from them. And I appreciate you all tuning in to watch me ramble about such stuff, right? If I believe in chakras, I wouldn't be a transhumanist. Right? Yeah, like I am by and large a transhumanist, actually, is probably the best description I could give anybody as far as like my personal belief structure, right? Is that it's like, I think that our objective in life is to transcend ourself, right? The person that you were is not the person that you are meant to be, and that's why you're always changing in the moment towards that person that you're supposed to be, and that person you're supposed to be is not like some fixed thing, right? That person that you're supposed to be is actually the person that you in the present believe you're supposed to become, right? So if you embrace a downward facing, persona, you're saying, I'm not going to get ahead, I'm just going to be grinding out my life, doing this thing, looking at the ground, never looking up for opportunity, then you're always going to be looking at the ground, grinding forward in life, never seeing the opportunities, right? Well, if you look up long enough to say, maybe I can see an opportunity or two. Maybe if I pay attention, I'm gonna avoid that oncoming threat, and maybe I'm gonna find, whatever that opportunity is in front of me. But you gotta look up first, right? You can't be looking down. You gotta at least be a realist, not a pessimist, right? But the crazy thing is when you start looking up and you start really realizing stuff, right? Like how small and insignificant you are in the vastness of the cosmos, because when you look forward, you can only see a few hundred feet. When you look up, especially at night, you see a few million years, if not billions of years into the past. All about perspective, right? Wherever you look is where you're going to end up, one way or another. Your inner being is instantly there. It's just the emotional path and frequency you got to put out. Yeah, exactly, David Eastwood. It's like there's this notion that, like I've heard the belief of a few people actually have asked me, because of the things that I say a lot, that they're like, well, what about buying lead armor? What lead armor? Lebanon. Transhumanist, even post-humanism, holds the idea that consciousness can transcend a biological substrate. Yeah, and I by and large agree, because like what the mind is a projector, right? Like think of it this way: consciousness, your subjective experience of reality is by and large an illusion, and that illusion is like the it's like the monitor that you're watching me on, right? Or the screen of your phone. If you break the screen, is your phone still projecting an image? No, right? Now, here's the thing. We know that if you knock out a certain function of the brain, then you stop perceiving consciousness. This is anesthetics. That's what that does. That's why there's this thesis that the microtubules are in your brain are what create the perception of reality. But that's just, nobody knows that yet, right? Like that's the hypothesis. Nobody knows what's going on there. But what's interesting, let's talk, well, here's the thing though, Greg, is because what you have to understand though, is that what's interesting about the underlying mechanisms of this, of the matrices of the mind, is that the more you understand about the matrices of the mind, the more you can understand about the reality of not just the greater, universe, but of markets. Because the more you can understand your own mind, the more you can understand other people's minds. Because you're looking at your own mind in breaking out of, when you start observing how you think and why you think the things you think, then you become able to observe why others think the way they think and what is driving them to do the things they do. So you can be like, okay, what is the driver for this person to be performing the action that they're doing? Say, talking about something called a digital economy as opposed to, digital assets, I'll pull it back on the topic here. So, but the point is, though, that if you're not, that a value in critical thinking, sort of like Bull Run's saying, you need to value critical thinking. Otherwise, how are you ever going to know if somebody's blowing smoke up your rear or you're actually following the actual truth, right? That's what I'm getting at, ultimately. It's just like there's this, we experience reality subjectively, ultimately. There's no way to be objective. It is impossible because your experience of reality at its very basic level is subjective. Vegan is not sustainable, but we all have our path. Globe equal mental prison. It is by and large. Society is the mental prison. I'm not sure. Chakras, what's that? The globe is a deception. Oh God, no. Yeah, the globe is definitely round. There's definitely a globe. That's why it's called a globe and not a disc, right? It's interesting that there seems to be this convergence of thought though around somehow flat earthers are now trying to say that because science believes that we live in a hologram, in a holographic universe, aka a simulation, that means we're on a flat world. It's like, what? No, it just means that time is flat. That doesn't mean that we're flat. There's still 3 dimensions of space, you goobers. Heliocentric model is what he is saying. Who's saying? Oh my. No, heliocentric. Yeah, heliocentric, obviously. You have to have the sun at the center because it's the largest gravitational mass, and that's just basic like relative physics, right? Like that gravity bends space-time, and the sun sits in the middle of so the sun, being such a massive object, creates a massive gravity well around it, and everything like water falling into the drain spins around that well. And the only reason we're not falling into the sun is because the sun is being pulled around the belt of the Milky Way, flying through space so fast that the planets can't actually catch the star. They're falling behind it. That's why the sun is actually sunk below the rest of the planets. If you were actually able to go out and look at it, you'd realize that the planets are actually, they would look to you almost as if they're sitting above the sun, as opposed to sitting in line with it. But yeah, it's because of the motion of the sun in relation to the background space, right? XRP and BTC have flattened the Earth when they moon. They'll make the moon look flat, right? But right now, I mean, we're still waiting for this dang trend to play out bullish here already. Like, come on, we get it. You wanna do a little correction here? Okay. You do your correction, and then you get us up there. Dang it, you get up to that 46-cent line already. Viewers dropping. It's all good, dude. XRP is proof of work sustainable. Proof of work is not sustainable at all, Stephen B. Not at all. First off, you can centralize proof of work with 51% attack, even if that's 51%. Even if 51%, I'm not even acknowledging that statement was made. Even if 51% attack is made against a network and they don't don't have the ability to drain all the value out of it, they can still disrupt action on it, which is going to scare people away. So you're going to have a psychological impact on the market. So 51% attack makes it invaluable, cannot be used. It will not scale because those kind of models will always become centralized, as they already have. Bitcoin is 70-some% mined by China today and has been that way since last year, right? It's not getting better, it's getting worse. So yeah, Bitcoin is a centralized piece of crap now because China's a thing. Because China is a government power that can centralize any segment of its economy that it so chooses. So it can grab a hold of 70% of the Bitcoin network and then start doing whatever the hell it wants to do that it's allowed to abuse with that much power. And it can do it. And if it feels financially pressured, it will do it. And in a ever more competitive global ecosystem that, you know, a lot of people are trying to pretend is not moving towards a digitally centralized, digitally decentralized even, level playing field using a globally agreed upon liquidity provider, right? Assuming the world's not really moving to that, and XRP, or Bitcoin rather, you know, is somehow able to supersede the issues of low transaction time, it's still going to run into the ultimate issue that it's going to consume so much power that it will literally leave us without fossil fuels within 50 years. If we just scaled the global community up to Bitcoin, it would destroy the planet. Just itself. Right? You don't even have to be like in the conspiracy club to understand how much, like when you actually talk about when you actually run out the actual mathematical numbers of how much energy that would consume, holy freaking crap. It's insane right now. It's insane what it's doing right now. But we write it off. Oh, it's not that big of a deal. It's only using as much power as some major countries. You know? What? No. The internet. The global internet uses 1%. Okay, cool. There's a lot of you know, there's a lot of silly. There's everybody is entitled to believe whatever they believe outside of the crypto space. But yeah, one thing I can say about the stars and the celestial bodies is XRP is definitely going to the moon. It's got that rocket ship fueled up right now, right? And it's going to the future. More than the Hoover Dam can supply. Trump needs to make XRP great again. I mean, I don't think that's even going to be Trump that makes it great. I think it's going to be the European Union and Japan that make it great, and the United States will follow, along with Russia and China thereafter probably. They might, I mean, maybe they're all going to go right at the same time. I just don't think, there's some reason, something in me is saying that, you know, humans are really dumb. And so they're obviously going to do something dumb between now and next year, right? They're going to do something really dumb in the next few months that's going to lead to a delay. There's going to be a delay. And everybody's going to be like, oh, FUD. And whatever price we get to, whether we get to $1, $5, $10, everybody's suddenly going to become a bunch of idiots and be like, say it's a fake, and then we're going to see the price dump. Because that's market cycles. That's just how people work. You know, by and large, the masses are always going to be wrong. You know, they're always going to make stupid mistakes. Oh my guys, come on now. Let's get off of the off of the talks about about flat Earth and versus globes. All right. Let's not go there. I get it. There's a lot of people that believe both ways. But you know, neither side seems to have the ability to show effective enough evidence to the other to disprove them in any one of these situations I've ever been engaged with. So both sides just drop it. Trust me, it's not even worth it. Neither side's going to convince the other. Humans flunk history and repeat. I'm a mutant. Crypto Fox, I feel it. I feel that on a spiritual level. I think you just you know, retyped out the words that are like scripted with a sharp needle across my heart, right? This is why I'm an alien, because I pay attention to all trends, or try to at least, as many as I can find and squeeze into my head. But there are some things that are just like, oh my. There's a video of oh my. There we all started wanting to. Yeah, wait, what are we talking about here? Oh, still on that. Alright guys. The halfling is coming up for the halfening. Halfling. Yeah, price should go up actually, XRP Gandhi, based upon the fact that the halfening is coming, right? We are an intelligent design, probably designed by ourselves because we're all the same self. If we're an intelligent design, that's probably how it works out. I don't know. Who knows? No one knows. We're all a bunch of chimps guessing. We're all picking our own poo out our butt, saying, this smells good, and flinging it at somebody else, and they're like, did you just throw shit at me? Right? Like, that's that's opinions, right? We're unfortunately, you know, sometimes we think our own shit smells good, and everybody else is going to tell you just how bad it smells, you know? There's a few weirdos out there that'd be like, your poo's actually kind of good. Let me munch on this. You know, maybe that's why they're called brown nosers too. I don't know. I shouldn't say that because, you know, at least some people out there are probably like, you know, that's that. I don't know. You're bound by your belief system. You're only Rodney, by and large, I agree, but I think that your belief system is bound to you more so. So it's, you know, my beliefs throughout life have changed 101 times. I mean, I started out life in a completely different mindset than I am now. I started out life as a fundamentalist Christian, a young earth creationist. I started out. And I ended up going to becoming a hardcore, like, polar opposite materialist atheist for a number of years. And now I've fallen somewhere in between, but am at no way subscribing to anyone else's narrative, right? So I don't think that anybody's bound by their belief systems. If they were, then I wouldn't have gone through that crazy of a progression throughout my life. I believe that you know, some of us are more fluid with how we choose to engage with new experiences in life. Some people are more rigid, you know, but those people are idiots. Sorry, that's not meant to be offensive, but that's just the downright truth. That's an ugly narrative of life, right? From Christian to globe religion. Yeah, right? I don't really think I have a religion though, Greg, because if I did, then I'd be going to a church where everybody's preaching my religion, right? I'd be listening to some dude up on a pedestal being like, and in the beginning, some shit I can't prove happened, and you better believe me, because if you don't, this guy who I can't prove exists is gonna fucking kill you. He's gonna make you burn for eternity. You know, just so you know, though, he does love you. He does love you. And that's not even making fun. If you think I'm making fun of your religion, then know that I was actually just making fun of literally every religion to ever exist there. Because that is the underlying narrative of all religion. Fear. 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 I was raised by Native Americans, XRP Gandhi. I don't know how the native lines in my family are, because apparently that's a thing that a lot of hippies lied about back in the day, about how much native ancestry they had, right, when they really didn't. So I don't really know what I have yet, because I haven't gotten a genetic test yet, but I do know that many of my family members who have gotten their genetics tested have a significant portion of native DNA, so I guess in some ways I was raised by natives. Hector, so if XRP price goes way up, what makes you think corporate employees will not sell and quit working? Hector, because if they did, then Ripple would just hire some new people, right? I mean, the heads at Ripple are billionaires already, right? Like, they're already billionaires, so why are they working if they got billions of dollars? Some people just like money. And for some people, a few $100,000 or a few $1 million, that's not good enough. Some people, they want billions. Some people want trillions. I think that's why some people hold as much XRP as they do, because some people, deep down, want to be a trillionaire, right? I don't blame them. That sounds exciting, to be a trillionaire. I mean, I think that that's an egregious, you know, concentration of what could be used for global, you know, liquid health, but, you know, to each their own. Oh boy. Yes, you're actually right, Michael, but I'm not going to read that out loud. How does anyone reconcile? Yeah, you know, that's dogma, right? That what you're getting at, Michael, is dogma. But that's not just the Bible. Let's be real. That's every religious doctrine that's ever existed. Sorry. That's why no religion is, in my opinion, that's why I don't get into this. We shouldn't be talking about this either, because this is bad talk. Everybody's gonna get in a friggin' argument because nobody believes the same thing, right? So let's not even talk about it. How about that be our religion as an XRP community? The religion to not talk about our religions, right? Or to talk about other people's religions. How about that one even more so? If you're going to talk about religion, talk about yours, but don't talk about somebody else's. I'll accept that even, right? But let's not go out and be attacking other people. That's why I keep like shying away from it. But you guys are just keep on with. My sister is a billionaire and content. Your sister's a billionaire? I mean, so she's one of the top 1,000 richest people in the world, Greg. That's pretty dope, actually. I wish I knew people that high up on the power ladder. Most corporations have millionaires working, but their CEOs, COOs, all those guys at the top of the pyramid. I mean, yeah, and you gotta think too, like a lot of people who work at Ripple, who receive any portion of their pay in XRP, they probably, you know, they probably sell a good portion of it each paycheck because they get paid in it, you know? I mean, I'll probably start selling XRP that I'm getting from donations from the channel at some point in the future, not really even thinking about the maturing on that, because that's not a part of my bag, right? That's part of my livelihood. You'll look at these things, you know, everybody will look at these currencies a lot differently than they do now once you start being paid in them, and once you start using them as currency instead of having to trade them for another currency, right? That's when this becomes real for, I think, everybody. Do you think any penny or penny coins? Stefan, I don't know what's really under a penny right now on CoinMarketCap. Let's have a look. Pull that up real quick. Someone on Twitter said XRP has a big move up tomorrow. Fingers crossed, folks. I hope it happens. I do too, Andy, but you know, I'm not keeping my fingers crossed for anything big coming at any given time, right? I mean, if it does happen, I'm gonna be happy, but I'm here for the long haul, right? That's why I encourage everybody in the chat. You know, I know that it's exciting to like dream of really soon price action going crazy, but you know, when it starts coming, that's when we'll know, right? When it actually starts to go up and it doesn't stop going up, that's when you'll know you're in the real bull run. But until that starts, you know, just let's ride out, see what happens. So as far as things under a cent, you know, I don't know. I don't like actually promoting things just because like they're under a certain dollar value, right? Like as far as projects that are really good, like right at the top, obviously XRP, obviously. EOS is promising, though I don't know, you know, it's able to be, they're able to create ESO, right? It's not a fixed supply, so, you know, it's it has potential, but you know, it's a corruptible system. It's kind of like LibreCoin in that regards, right? Because they can make more EOS. ADA, you know, I like the promise of ADA, but at the same time, it's a privacy coin, and we know that the new regulations that we've gotten out of, you know, G20 are not going to be received well by, you know, such tokens. I'm surprised that they didn't crash after the announcements that came out of the G20, but that shows how much people are actually paying attention to what the leaders are saying, right? What else do we got here? UN, US, SED, LEO? No idea. No idea what this even is, but it just like came out of nowhere, I guess. Interesting. This thing's like brand new. And it's like already in the top. I don't know what Leo is, but Leo's there. It's funny because I literally started talking about a Leo coin like the day this was this literally released like the same time as May. Okay, never mind. I started talking about Leo coin after Libra coin just because I was like, oh, we're gonna get a Leo coin now. Watch, and sure, that's kind of creepy. But anyways, Monero is another one that, like, you know, Monero and Dash too, because Dash is privacy as well, I believe. Now that I think about it, it has a privacy layer, so it might be able to get away with it. But Monero and Cardano, they're going to get hit once their holders realize what's going on as far as how the regulation is going to get hit. Yeah, EOS is largely overrated because of the fact that it can be printed, in my opinion, Ocon. So I do agree. Oh, it's an exchange token? Leo is? Interesting. I'm interested in aliens, but I just don't see any. I agree, Stefan, right? I'm hoping that an alien finds my YouTube channel and is like, this guy, he is close. And then they reach out, right? That'd be cool. Maybe they'll give me some inside scoop to what's to come in our future. Because I think that aliens, if they exist, they're really just time travelers. They're probably just humans from the future. They probably look a lot different, you know. But I think by and large, it just... I don't know. There's some weird things when it comes to time and space and like general like quantum physics, as far as like how the implications. There are certain implications in science that make me concerned as to whether or not there is life on other planets in the way that we think about it. At least, like, I don't know. The universe is a beautiful place. It's a beautifully, fantastically complex, bewildering, enormous place that we will probably never understand, never have a potential of even trying to, right? I think that's why it's such a fascinating thing to try and understand, to obsess over, because it's they're questions that you can never truly find answers to in life. Maybe aliens are the users entering into our simulated computer universe, as long as they're not illegal. Oh no, he didn't. Yeah, I mean, maybe. That's actually why I partly believe that we are in a simulation, because we're not hearing aliens. You know, it's weird that we're not, but yeah, I know. Chainlink is like blowing up. It's on the 17th already, right? But yeah, there's some. Yeah, there's nothing really that's even under $1 in the top 30. You know, Dogecoin. Hey, there you go. VeChain's under a cent still. You know, you go grab some VET. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, but you know, if you're looking for something with promise, you know, that's decent. They're only showing back to 2018, but I thought that it released in 2017. Weird. Does it say its initial release? Nope, not seeing it here. So, yeah, VET has promise from everything that I've seen and read into it, so by all means go check that out if you're looking for something, you know, under a penny. But I mean, the reality is you're not going to get your gains from something just because it's a low dollar value. You're going to get your gains from something that you're investing in that's the technology for it, or the focus of that asset is penetrating a market with a certain market capital value of that market, right? Whatever that market capital of that market is that you're targeting, say logistics like VeChain. So you figure out, okay, what's the total value of the total logistics market? Well, you find out that it's something like, you know, maybe $200 billion. Okay, so then you say, what's the value of VET right now? Like, it's, you know, what's its total market cap? And I know that it's less than $1 billion, right? VET is at half 500 million, right? So we say, okay, that means that because, you know, VET can, we'll bring up a calculator here just to show everybody. So we're saying that it has access to a market cap, the logistics market has 200 billion, we're saying, because I don't know what the actual value is, so we're just, this is our assumption number, right? $200 billion in the entire logistics market chain, and VET monopolizes 100%. It totally takes it over, right? So that would mean that its current market cap of 5, that means that its new market cap is going to become that 200 billion, right? Meaning that each of your VET coins can increase in value by 393 fold, right? So that means that what is basically 1 cent can turn into, you know, I'll put it out here, 916, could essentially turn into $3.60, right? Assuming that the total market capital of the logistics industry that VeChain's targeting is 200 billion, and assuming that VeChain dominated the entire thing, right? Then you would be able to get a VeChain VET token value of $3.60 each. Now, is that going to play out that way? I don't know. I haven't been following VeChain close enough to know if it's going to actually dominate that large. Is it going to find partners outside of the logistics industry that can bring more than that total market capital into its ecosystem? Again, I don't know. And that could cause the price to go even higher than we see, that I just pointed out to going, right? But, you know, it's not because of the dollar value of the current coin. It's about the current market capital based, and then you take that market capital and divide that by the potential market capital if your coin does the best that it possibly can, right? And that gives you, you know, a best case scenario to work with. You know, that's why if you wanted to really look at what Ripple could do, then you take the fact that, you know, there's a 200, or what is it? It was a $5 quadrillion that moves through the market each year, right? So let's see, billion, trillion, 5 quadrillion, right? Million, billion, trillion, quadrillion. Now that's supposed to be annually, so we'll divide that by 365 here, and so daily we're still going to have to move $13 trillion, right? So we divide that by the 100 billion XRP in existence, and there you have $136, right? But again, what you need to keep in mind is that 13 trillion is volume, right? Not market cap. And I challenge anybody to find me a coin who has a volume, right? A 24-hour volume that's higher than its market, higher or even equal to its market cap, right? Like Tether coin. Tether is like one of the few examples of something you can get like that because it's a fiat peg, right? That's the only way you can keep value that low, like have that much value move through something and keep the value that low, is if it's a fiat. In other words, it's not, the value is not stored in the amount of coins, but in the belief in that system, the fiat dollar, the US dollar, right? So That's why this is the, you know, that's why your fiat pegs are the only ones that are going to operate that way. While your actual true fixed supply currencies, you can't get that. The math just doesn't work out for you to do that. So the range, the average range seems to be like, you know, if we look at Ethereum, Ethereum's volume was 11 billion in 24-hour volume, and it has 34 billion. So like 3 times that price, right? And that seems to be like one of the most, maybe Litecoin might even be a little bit more appropriate, right? Because it's moved 6 billion in 24 hours with 8 billion market cap. It also has run up pretty heavily though, so that might explain why it's seeing that high of a percentage. But so like the idea though is that you have multipliers that will and can be added based upon the where the volume, or where the volume requires price to be in order for the price to stay stable at that kind of volume, right? So what do I think about Holochain? I haven't followed Holochain really at all, so I can't even say anything about it, unfortunately. I'm sorry about that, but yeah, I don't know enough about it to really put anything else in. Can you do that with XRP? Wait, what? Do what with XRP? Crypto JC. I don't think this is a planet and that planets are real. I mean, you know, you can... I just don't take anything too far to any extreme 11. I mean, I get why you would think that, but, you know, I don't entertain it. They always said that kid Jade needs to get out of his room and go out and talk to people. Little did they know, right? This is why I don't go out and talk to people. Exactly, Baba. No, I don't go out. Yeah, that is actually why I don't go out and talk to people, because people just... the average person attacks me every day. My life is an argument fest if I go out and engage with normal people. So I just isolate. It's better that way for both of us, I think. And now I have this awesome community on YouTube that seems to find my insane ramblings entertaining, if nothing else, right? So I appreciate the everybody that does tune in, though. It means a lot. Though we have been going for almost 2 hours, so I might be needing to call it here relatively soon, just because of that. But I think I'll go till 2 hours. We got till 2 hour mark, and then we can call it a do. All right. So I'm gonna go check out what we're doing. What Bitcoin's doing, because I haven't checked Bitcoin versus USD all day. All day. We're not normal people. No. No, we are not. We're fantastic, bizarre, weird, strange, beautifully strange people. That's what we all are. I love weird people, though. They're so much more interesting, you know? Normal people are boring. I'm sorry. Maybe it's just because I'm not normal, but I find normal people boring. It's like, why would you want to be like everybody else? Like, that means that there's nothing exciting about you if you're like everybody else. What? If there's nothing unique about you, then like, what the hell are you doing with your life? What kind of life is it to be like everybody else? That's a tough sell for me. You know, I think the idea of holo is cool, but it requires people to... Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I have heard of it, actually. Isn't that the new decentralized internet? I mean, if that is what it is, if I'm actually remembering correctly, then that... I mean, I could get behind it, but, you know, I think it'll take time to catch on. Like all things, you know. We might just be being the old farts not ready for that new fang-dangled internet, you know. But I don't know. That's the other reason why I try and like stay open-minded too, because I don't want to miss a trend because I'm being a cynic. You know what I mean? Yeah, everything's like super cheap right now. It's just it's just a question of like which ones are going to be affected by the coming wave, right? Like what is the next wave going to push up the most? Which ones are going to retrace the most in the coming wave, right? So that you'll have an opportunity to actually get back into them versus which ones they're just, you know, going to the moon and never coming back. You know, they're going to the moon and then going to Mars. So everybody that thought that they're gonna, you know, catch a ride after the moon run missed out. But we'll see. I'd be afraid of investing in private coins with all. Yeah, I agree, Gordon De Silva. I won't be. That's why I like. Even though I do enjoy the ideology behind privacy coins, I just don't think that they're going to do well in the coming cycle, especially the way that the government's posturing against them. I was asking you to do a price estimate for XRP using that formula, but you already did it. Thanks. Oh, yeah. Yeah, dude, no worries. Yeah, you head out, Ben. Much appreciated, dude. Go Team USA. Us all. Us ball. Have a good one, Ben. Thanks for tuning in tonight, dude. I remember hearing about Bitcoin way back in 2011. How I wish I'd had the sense to buy even a few of them. I know, right? Yeah, I mean, I feel like an idiot for not getting in, even when I like was really like close to getting some too. And I even when I first found out about it, like I was thinking like, oh, so if I bought a lot now, you know, they could gain value. I just didn't believe that it would gain value. I thought that it was already overvalued. And when I first found out about Bitcoin, I think it was under $100 the first time I found out about it. And now I feel like a total idiot because, you know, like I had my first opportunity to invest and almost did was at like, it's like $97 or $95. And it's like, oh, it can't go over 100, dude. Like it's already so overvalued. You know, how could this internet money be worth more than the dollar? That doesn't make sense to me. And then 2 years later, you know, 2013, I think, it was up to like it was in the hundreds, or maybe it was 2013 is when I first heard about it, maybe because 2015 I think is when it was in the 300s, because that's when I saw it again, 2015. And that's actually around the time when I actually started to actually get into researching it and trying to figure out what the hell is this thing. And it took, because I didn't like really dedicate to it in 2015, like it took until like mid 2016 for me to be like really being like, this is gonna change things. And then 2017 I had to get in, just because I was like, okay, this thing's just going up. I don't know where it's gonna stop. It keeps hitting these numbers that everybody says it's impossible for it to hit, and it just keeps hitting them. So maybe the impossible is possible. It was a gamer coin. Which one was Dogecoin? I only know, actually I learned about Dogecoin before Bitcoin, I think, even, to be honest, because there was a gamer that was like going around promoting Dogecoin way back in the day. David Luckett, I found out about Bitcoin when it was just $1 a coin, and I thought it was some kind of game token stuff, so I never looked at it. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it, it's interesting, you know. So, you know, I think everybody needs to be exposed to it over time, and the longer that they keep hearing that it's still around, still kicking, still making people rich, you know, the more people are going to get in, until it's just, you know, Javon's paradox. You know, Brad kind of's been bringing that up a fair bit, but that's, you know, basically what it is. The more people adopt, the more it's going to be worth. The more it's worth, the more people are going to adopt, and the more utility that can be put on top of that, you know, adopted value. So it's just it's a positive feedback loop. It's a cycle that feeds itself. Some people are saying Bitcoin will be worth $1 million. You know, someday maybe it will. I mean, I don't think that it's going to be worth $1 million by 2020, like John McAfee said he'd cut off his balls or his penis if it reached that price, or if it didn't reach that price by 2020. So I think old McAfee's gonna be looking like Varys here in a few, right? I think that's why he really fled the U.S. because he's like he knows we're coming to take his family jewels, and it's gonna be funny. No, I just can't wait to see how he talks his way out of it. It's gonna be funny. It's gonna be funny because I just don't see it going to 1 million. Like not that soon, at least. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm being cynical about Bitcoin, but I see like 100K maybe. You know, that's realistic to me right now. But you know, there are people that are saying that 10K was unrealistic in 2017. They're saying all 2017, oh, Bitcoin will never hit 10,000. It'll never hit. It's unrealistic. That's impossible. And then it hits 20. Well, almost, right? It doubled the impossible. The impossible is possible. Sounds like a quote from Willy Wonka. Is that a quote from Willy Wonka? I don't know. I definitely steal quotes quite frequently without meaning to. It's an accident. I just kind of do it, you know. Fit 155 XRP. Do you think we're close to something with XRP? I feel like we are. I mean, I started the stream, you know, 2 hours ago now, basically, because I thought that we were within like an hour or two of something happening here, but it looks like we're gonna staircase up, and we'll see what happens here in the next few hours. But I think history echoes itself, David, because it doesn't really repeat, but it does rhyme, right? That's why the saying is history doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. And I think that the rhyme will be, you know, a digital asset, its price is exploding into the stratosphere, but this time instead of being Bitcoin, it's going to be XRP. I think Bitcoin is what's going to attract people back to digital assets long enough for them to realize what the big companies and everybody are actually going to adopt. Oh, much appreciated, Gordon. No, like legitimately, I didn't realize that it was a Willy Wonka reference. I plucked that one out the aether. Can you imagine how it'd be if you, John McAfee's grandkids, if I met them? You mean like that'd actually be pretty lit? Like I would love to interview John McAfee. If I get popular enough so that someday like John McAfee recognizes I'm a content creator, then I'd be like, I need to interview you because you're an interesting cat, and I can't wait to see what kind of insanity comes from us talking. Because he's really out there, and he entertains some really interesting notions. So I think that we'd have something really bizarre come of it, and that seems to be interesting to people. It's just bizarre conversations, right? Gotta run, don't lose the faith, no news is good news. Hell yes, XRP Gandhi. And the weekends are always slow, so you have a great night, and we'll see you tomorrow, dude. Hope you have a good one. But yeah, I'm not really worried about us not getting too much content, you know, news or whatever today. Weekends are always slow, right? So but that's why we're doing live streams, so that I can come out here and do Q&A with everybody out in the community. And you know, I'm so shook how many people actually turned out tonight. You know, we were over 100 for a long while there. That was awesome. Even if big financial institutions start using XRP, it may not be until Ripple finish releasing all their escrow holdings before we see the price really go up. Yeah, I by and large agree, Graveheart, right? Like I think that once XRP or Ripple starts selling out each of their monthly escrows, that's when we're going to start to see it affect the price, because you know these groups are going to be able to buy XRP off of the marketplace as they need it instead of having to go to Ripple, right? Because if I'm not mistaken, the current agreements that these people who are buying XRP from Ripple are under is that they can't sell or buy XRP from the exchanges while they're under this current agreement until it expires, right? Until the NDAs are lifted. So it could do it. Yeah, it's hard to say what's going to actually occur once they're no longer able to supply everybody that's coming into the ecosystem each month. I think that's when the price will really start to go up, though. That's what I feel, at least. Even if big financial institutions start using XRP, oh yeah. Yeah, well, and that's the other thing too, is that they'll probably use XRapid, right? And we're not going to see anything really big come in from the XRapid, I don't think. I think that the custodianship, the actual possession of these assets by these groups, that's what's really going to cause the price to really start to skyrocket. You know, that's why I was so excited about the prospect of SBI releasing in June. You know, I'm excited that it's coming in July. I need to now find like actual release date from Yoshitaka Kitao, and then we'll start talking about that day $10 XRP, because that's what Yoshitaka Kitao is apparently saying, right? So that'll be super exciting to see actually play out. All escrow will probably be distributed between governments. Flooring guy, that's probably closer to the truth than not, right? That's probably more likely what's going to actually unfold should Ripple be successful in their ultimate game plan. They will most likely relinquish almost all possession that they have. Found one site that sells 10 ounces starter pack around with 0 shipping at spot. What? Oh, silver. You're talking about buying silver? Yeah, silver is super undervalued, and we know that, like, well, we know. Anybody that follows silver markets knows that it's dramatically suppressed, right? Because JP Morgan is intentionally suppressing the price right now. So that'll be interesting when that market finally pops off. I'm wondering when that's going to be, but that'll be super interesting to watch. Will you hold XRP for 15 years if it stays below $5 for that whole time? Yeah, dude. Graveheart. The only way that I'm getting out of XRP is if I see another currency or another group, essentially, rise to the occasion to compete against Ripple in its targeted ecosystem, right? If I see, like, you know, XLM suddenly start getting all the banks partnering with them, you know, and I start hearing about Ripple partners breaking their partnerships to go move on to work with other projects, then I'm going to be like, okay, guys, something's going on here. We might want to be watching out, right? Who knows? What's the site? Oh, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. It's when SBI goes live, we're going to 28 cents. The good news is going to drive us so low, right? Yeah, I think when SBI goes live, we might see $10. I mean, SBI manages quite a bit of money. And we are supposed to see Japan have 80% of their internal revenue run through X current by the end of the year. So who knows? We'll see what happens. You know, that's going to be a lot of volume. That's going to be a lot of volume added onto the network. So I'm excited to see how that plays out. Let's see, I'll answer a few more questions if I can find some stuff here that I haven't already addressed. I'm going to call it a stream here. If you have any questions before I call it a night, by all means, throw it in the chat, and I'll try and get to you before you head out here. Would you start with rounds or coins? As far as gathering silver, Tom, I would personally just go with coins, just because it's easier to. Then it's actually in a form that I can utilize it. What are my thoughts about BG123's latest Reddit post? I haven't seen his latest Reddit post. That shows how much I pay attention to the Bearable guy, right? Yeah, I haven't followed BG since I started my YouTube channel, actually, because I don't think that we really even need I don't think that anybody even needs to be paying attention to a faceless insider talking about things that nobody can confirm when we have so much good news already, right? Like, maybe if the news gets dry, then maybe I'll find time to do a Bearable guy video, right? But I mean, there's been so much stuff that it's like kind of overwhelming, honestly, to cover all the news that comes out for XRP every day. It's like there's so much. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And but yeah, I awesome job tonight. Thank you so much, Bubba Shapes. Bought some too. You $9? Wait, what did you buy, 11? BG123 is Vincent Wilson, the ultimate. That's an M. Night Shyamalan twist right there, brother. That'd be funny. I could buy it. I could buy it, right? All right, guys. Well, thank you all for tuning into the stream tonight. It means the world to me so much. Seriously, the fact that we had like nearly 100 people, over 100 people for quite a while there. That's really awesome. I really love that so many people out there are constantly tuning in and showing their support for all my content. Seriously, I wouldn't be doing this right now if it wasn't for every one of you that's out there listening to me right now. This isn't me copying out being like, oh, thank you. No, like legitimately, thank you so much. Because if you weren't tuning into me, I couldn't do this right now. So you all mean the world to me. I hope you all have a fantastic night. Get a great night's sleep. You know, if it's midday, whatever, enjoy the rest of your day. But it's late here, so I'm getting ready to wrap it up, call it a night. So I hope you all have a wonderful evening. As always, I've been Jade. You've been watching The Martian Report. I can't wait to see all of you in tomorrow night's stream on Mars, right? See you all there. Alright. Done. Oh, wait. Yeah.